How to stop procrastinating. We have all been there. You have a massive project deadline looming, an important email to write, or a messy room that desperately needs your attention. Yet instead of doing the work, you find yourself deep down a rabbit hole watching random videos or organizing your desk drawer. When this happens, you probably beat yourself up. You assume that you are lazy, unmotivated, or simply terrible at managing your time. However, modern behavioral science reveals that this assumption is completely wrong. Procrastination is not a time management flaw, and it has absolutely nothing to do with laziness. In reality, it is an emotional regulation problem. When you understand the hidden biological triggers behind this habit, you can finally learn how to stop procrastinating for good. The tug-of-war inside your head. To break the cycle of delay, you must understand what is happening inside your mind when a difficult task lands on your desk. Your brain is essentially caught in a fierce battle between two distinct internal systems, the emotional brain limbic system. This is one of the oldest, most primitive parts of the human mind. It lives entirely in the present moment, absolutely hates discomfort, and constantly demands immediate mood repair. The logical brain prefrontal cortex. This is the highly evolved, smart part of your brain that handles long-term planning, career goals, and future consequences. When you look at a daunting or boring task, your emotional brain panics. It interprets the feelings of boredom, confusion, or self-doubt as a literal threat to your well-being. Therefore, it steers you toward an easy, comforting alternative to get a quick hit of dopamine. Avoiding the work provides instant relief, which accidentally rewards your brain for putting it off. The 3 hidden triggers of task paralysis. We do not delay every single task in our lives. Instead, we specifically avoid the chores or projects that trigger our deepest inner vulnerabilities. Usually, our resistance boils down to 3 hidden blocks: the perfectionism trap. If your internal standard for a project is incredibly high, beginning that project becomes terrifying. Your mind convinces you that if you do not start, you cannot fail. Procrastination suddenly becomes a twisted form of self-protection. Vague ambiguities. When a project is too broad or poorly defined, your mind cannot visualize the very first physical action step. The human brain naturally despises uncertainty. Because it does not know what to do next, it pivots to a predictable, simple task like checking social media. Future self-disconnection. Neurological studies show that when we think about our future self a few weeks from now, our brain lights up in the exact same spot as when we think about a complete stranger. We treat our future self like an item on someone else's to-do list, which makes it incredibly easy to say, "I will let next week's version of me handle that stress." You do not avoid tasks because you lack willpower. You avoid tasks because your primitive mind is trying to protect you from a temporary negative emotion. 4 simple steps to break the cycle. If you are currently staring down a project you are actively avoiding, you can use these science-backed strategies to bypass your emotional brain right now. Lower the bar to an absurd level. Do not promise yourself that you will finish the entire project today. Instead, commit to working on it for just 2 minutes and legally allow yourself to quit when the timer goes off. The hardest part is simply the friction of starting. Isolate the very first action. Remove all ambiguity from the equation. Instead of writing down a vague goal like work on taxes, write down a tiny, undeniable physical instruction like open the spreadsheet and type the header. Manage your energy, not your clock. Forgive yourself for your past delays. Research shows that students who actively forgive themselves for procrastinating on a previous exam experience significantly less stress and perform much better on their next assignment. Create immediate friction for distractions. If your emotional brain wants to escape to your phone, put the device in another room or use an app blocker. Making bad habits slightly harder to access gives your logical brain the crucial seconds it needs to regain control.